Hello, and welcome to Mid-Market Leaders, the podcast featuring leaders from some of America's most impactful but lesser-known companies. My name is Jeff Cass. I'm an executive coach here in Charlotte, North Carolina, who retired in 2023 after more than 30 years of leadership in corporate America, and I'll be your host. My guest today is Stefan Joens, who is president of Elnik Systems. Elnik is an international industrial furnace manufacturer that Stefan's father started 56 years ago. It's also one of four businesses that Stefan runs. So I'm happy that he took a little time to sit down with me today. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. It's good to see you again, man.
Yeah. By the way, you are my first repeat guest. So thank you for coming on. Yeah.
Awesome.
A year later, we did this with another podcast that I was handling. So you are the first repeat person that I have. So welcome.
Thanks, man. It's an honor to be back. I know the last run of your podcast, you did a really great job with the market, the audience you were supporting. So I'm excited to see where this new podcast is going for you too.
Yeah. And you were a big part of that. You and I had coffee, and when I was thinking about doing something different, you had strong feelings that I continue on. So you were one of the influencers for that. I appreciate that because I'm enjoying this. This is something I really do enjoy doing.
You're welcome, man. I'm glad to be part of it.
Yeah. So let's start a little bit with your background and your career. Tell us a little bit about your career and how you came to run Elnik.
Sure. So I'll keep it short and sweet because we could certainly spend a lot of time on it, but I grew up working in a family business, which was this company. Got to about 18, 19, realized I wanted to do things a little different than what my father was currently doing at the time and thought I'd take a different path, studied finance and economics, and then lost interest in the prospectuses and syllabuses and all the other paperwork kind of part of it. But I loved the people side. And then was itching to use the manufacturing brain that I had and the technical brain that I've always had. I've never studied it, but it's just the way I'm wired. After about 4.5 years, sat back down with my dad and said, "Hey, is there a chance to come back to the business? I think there's some things I can add to value and continue to help you." And obviously, I know any proud father, if he sees an opportunity for a kid to come into the business and maybe run it one day, that's a twinkle in their eye and a proud moment. So I came back at 27 and worked my way through the business in every different role, every position, continuing on what I did when I was in my teens, and worked my way right up to the leadership of the company, mainly by saying yes to every opportunity that came through, not knowing that I knew exactly how to run it or do it. I just said yes because I believed in myself. And belief as a leader is probably one of the strongest traits and skills you can have.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, not every leader of a company has done every position. Was this an idea that your dad had or something that you wanted to do?
I think it was a pseudo combination. He didn't initially map out the plan of where I should go and what roles I should do. Obviously, he started the company, so he understands the value of being the first guy that does everything and then eventually building a team.
Mm-hmm.
When there was opportunities that came up in different roles, and for me, when I was in finance, I wanted to take the management, the leadership role, and the coach for new advisors coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So there was opportunities here that had leadership, team leads, management, and so forth that opened. And like I said, I took the opportunity when they came through and I put my name in the hat. And I've always been good with people, but I've been smart enough to figure out what is the process I need to learn along the way. So I always use the analogy of jump off the cliff first, you'll figure out how to fly on the way down. I did that a lot of times, knowing again that I have belief that I will figure out what needs to happen along that way. So I don't think he mapped it out for me, but he was excited that all these opportunities came to, and I got the chance to do every job in the company.
I would think. I think it would help you now in the position you're in now, and probably help you answer this question for me. So, what makes Elnik unique?
That's a great question. I could probably take that about 3 or 4 different ways. The number one thing about our company that I think I brought to the company when we came back is driving core values.
Mm,
Core values within a company is everything, so long as they're followed and they're used to coach the ethos of the humans in the way that we operate every single day. And for us, the thing that my dad always believed in was quality. So our first core value is quality first. And that's in everything we do, whether it's the way we build equipment, whether it's the way we communicate with each other, whether it's the experience for the customer. We always want to make sure that we're hitting the quality number every day, first time, every time. So anytime we get together as a team, we are
hmm
always bringing in core values into the operation or into the work that we're trying to accomplish or that we're trying to coach. And then
hmm
I would say on the backside to that, We care more than any other furnace company that's out there that I've seen. I have a personal ethos called "We those who care more win more," and that is a philosophy that I live every day, and everybody here is growing to and becoming part of that too. So the world knows that. When you call us, we're going to do everything we can.
So that sounds a little bit more like culture to me. So that's what my next question for you. How would you describe the culture that you've created or that you and your father have created at Elnik?
That's a great one. I think I shifted it out of the time that my dad grew the company. He worked in this company, ran this company for 50 years, started in the 60s. So the world was just different, right? People
Sure.
were operating more off of come to work, you got a job, you do your thing. Where when in 2016, 17, 18, I started to shift the mindset away from who are we as a company? What are we doing? Why do we come to work every day? So I've shifted the mindset of giving people to be here to be part of a purpose.
Mm,
So if we have welders in the shop or people manufacturing things, or even the engineers, they're not just drawing lines or putting metal together. They're building equipment that's giving a company the ability to maybe make a hip or a knee out of a metal part or a pair of Ray-Bans and so forth. So it's like giving people the understanding that they're working towards something bigger than themselves, gives them the ability to want to come to work every day and see some purpose in it. And then the other side to it really is, and I think this is a testament to a big change for us operationally, was in 2023, we moved 600 miles from New Jersey to North Carolina. We were fortunate enough to retain 75% of the team, of which 50% of the total team moved 600 miles down here with us. That's not just something somebody does on a whim just because it seems like an interesting move. So, yeah, there was a lot of benefits to the relocation from a culture, from a cost of living and everything else. But we got a really cool thing going on here. We work together as a team, as a family. I talk and preach family every day because without these people behind the office walls that I'm in right now, I don't have a company.
yeah,
So,
no doubt about it. So that's interesting. I got a bunch of questions around that. So purpose, a lot of people talk about that, and it's not easy to give all the time, I think, to everyone. So you must work at that, I assume. Like you talked about that welder, you have to help them understand where their work is going and where that product is
mhm.
going. Talk a little bit about that, if you would. How do you help create purpose for everyone?
That's a great one. Bigger visionary stuff. So any executive level or CEO role of a company, your job is to paint a huge vision, such a huge vision so that all the people within the company can find a way to create their own vision underneath that big umbrella, right? So
Mm-hmm.
always staying high level, always talking about where we're going, what we're trying to do. So we have financial goals we're trying to hit. We have industries we're trying to get involved in. We have new equipment we're trying to bring to the market and just helping to change the world one piece of equipment at the time. There's a famous electronics company that uses our furnaces to make stuff for phones and watches. We are giving companies like that the ability to transform the way they're manufacturing things and then bring new product to the market and to the world that then later consumers can go out and actually use to either feel good, repair,
Mm-hmm.
replace components of their body that broke down and they have the ability to relive their life. So I like the medical example a lot because I think as humans, we all have had some kind of pain or ailment in our lives that we fought. For someone who's had a hip, for example, I'll go to the shop and the welders and I'll sit and talk to them about why it's important to do the job, not just from a quality perspective, but no, you're doing this job to give that company the ability to give somebody a new hip. It could be you one day down the road, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the quality and passion you put behind your work ensures a good product, at least for what we can control on the back end, that gives people the ability to relive their life and not
Mm-hmm.
have to hang it up or hang the cleats up and so forth. So I always try to tie into it the end game of what it's being used for so that when the guys and all the teammates come here to the office, it's more than just pushing buttons. It's more than
Mm-hmm.
just putting hot torch on metal. You're doing it for a reason. You're helping to change the world one little piece of equipment at a time.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's really good. I had a lot of the middle market leaders that I have on the show. They talk a lot about culture and they talk about maybe how they communicate it. The last one that I
Mm.
had was a friend of mine from college. They had communication, multiple forms of communication, but one was a TV where they put out different information about what they were doing and how the company was progressing. another one, another leader from Ohio, he would meet with multiple employees typically on their birthday, and he would spend a lunch with
That's
them, and he
cool.
would talk to them quite a bit. So you mentioned meeting with and talking to the employees. What other forms of communication do you use to get that message across? Because it's not just something that you casually say periodically. This is something you do all the time, I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah. In passing all the time, whenever I hear somebody talking about an issue or a problem, I always either try to bring it back to core values or bring it back to the bigger project. One of the things that we started this past year, which has actually been really fun and it's a great success, and I bring it right back to core values again because core values are everything. So long as the leadership and the team realizes how to integrate core values in a conversation, it makes people constantly think about it. And then
Mm-hmm.
post it all around your facility, your office, your building, on your shirts, on your logos, wherever you can put it. But what
Mm-hmm.
we've done this year is that every 2 months, the entire team puts together an award recognition of who's living up to that core value.
Oh,
So it's completely peer recognized. I have zero say in how it goes. The only thing I get to do is present that recognized award, and then I get to pick the prize that the person wins. And if I
mm-hmm.
know ahead of time enough, I try to tailor the gift to the person, but I always tie it to the gift itself or the value itself. So, like for quality first, I always think about what's a good quality product that somebody might want to have. So they got like a whole kit of various different Yeti components because Yeti
Mm-hmm.
makes one of the most high quality components one could have. And this person I know likes to live outdoors and go hiking and camping. So I tailored the gift with a quality product to them.
Cool.
And then we did innovation. So the people who won the innovation award come to the office, they travel a bit and so forth. They carry backpacks. So I went out and found an incredibly innovative backpack that was not a cheap to gift to win and so forth, but that was the gift that they won that time. So this backpack was just a revolutionized bag that offers you all these different ways to store stuff, organize things, and so forth. So it's peer recognition, reinforcing what the core values are. And then we're not going to do it this year because I wanted to go through a full year, but next year we're going to do an end of year banquet and
Mm.
highlight who throughout the whole year lived up to all of our five main core values. So that's just
Wow.
one continual way to help the team look towards each other to
Mm.
help recognize who's doing really well within the company.
Yeah, to show that you live it and recognize people that are doing it. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned family culture and the
Mhm.
move. So let's go back to that because this was a topic that we had quite a bit of a year ago. And it was
Mhm.
something that you had just come through. So now it's been 2 years. Maybe give a quick description of what happened with the move. And then I'd really like to hear, how those family cultures helped you bring 50% of the folks, over to the new plant here in North Carolina.
Yeah. I will say successfully after 2 years, everything's running as smooth as it possibly could. The unknown piece of that puzzle was at least in our little niche world we're in, the manufacturing world where we were in, took a pretty slow down operation in 2024. So going
Mm.
through a move, spending a lot of money, and then having to revisit the how you're managing cash flow and finances and keep things thriving, right? The best you possibly can was unplanned for. One of the things I'm grateful for is in the move, because of all the different challenges of moving a manufacturing plant, the best skill you can develop or walk into it with is the art of the pivot.
Mm.
Because we've really sharpened that axe in 2023, managing 2024 was easier for us because we learned how to pivot, how to do this, how to do that, taking different jobs and projects and managing it in the facility was good. What I would say is the thing that I also learned. So I think a lot of our culture grew from 2018 forward. As I said, I made some shifts, started
Hmm.
talking a lot more about purpose. When COVID came around, one of the most important things I think that was our success of building culture was we constantly were talking with each other.
Hmm.
Every week to 2 weeks, we'd get in front of each other. We'd have a group meeting. How do we want to address the next week or two? What pivots do we need to do? What are we learning about the world? What are we being told to do? What do we feel comfortable with? So, in those communications, we built this community driven decision making power that got everybody together. And that
Okay.
really
Okay.
honed us in. And I think it was a big help for how we decided to make the move. And one thing that most people, when they think of a company moving, the leadership says, hey, we're moving, we're out in 60 days. We didn't do that. We said, hey, we need more space. We have these options. we as a team are doing what we as a team want to do. So we made the decision as a group. It wasn't just my decision. I wasn't
Hmm.
going to rebuild down here with a new team. I wanted to
Right.
bring a lot of people along. So that was a big part of the move. The people that did come as we onboarded new teammates, they were so solidified because of the move and all the things we were doing that the new teammates that came in really were able to grow together and experience firsthand, not just physically and visually, but they had the emotional feeling to how tight knit we were as a group. So they're coming into it and they're working out really well. So it was an interesting couple years, certainly a little stress. I might have had a couple more gray hairs develop over the last couple of years, but that's what it is. What I would say is we constantly find ways to get together. So every month we get together on a Thursday, we roll the back doors open so long as it's warm enough, and we'll throw some bags. We'll order some food in. We'll do some ping pong. People get to bring their kids along. We open up an area so the kids can play. So we're just doing things like a family would do. And it's not a barbecue, but it's our little barbecue that we get to have in the shop. And we do that once a
Yeah.
month so that everybody, no pressure, you don't have to attend, but it gets you that ability to bond outside of work.
Yeah. And I think as far as moving people from from, I don't know, what is it, 700 miles or something like that? I forget what
600,
it is,
yeah,
700 miles. If they're not bought into what the company is doing and where it's going, they don't make that move.
right.
Assume that is a true testament to your family culture that you guys have built, right? I don't know if you want to talk any more about that. You talked around it, but do you have anything else to add to it?
Yeah, hands down. Half the team that came down brought their families along. So they had to relocate and find new schools and find new towns that they want to live in. I'll say
Hmm.
successfully now, 2 years later, 6 people on the team have bought homes, which in
Hmm.
New Jersey would have been one or two because of the different tax rates, cost of everything, the interest rates, and so forth at the time. So the things and the reason for relocating to this area are all starting to come to fruition. The slowdown didn't really help. Like we weren't able to do bonus monies last year or really much, if any, raises that we were able to move some money around to help some people because it wasn't a strong year. But the team still has the buy-in. The team still has the vision for what we're trying to accomplish and we're able to do. But the families moved. I think the families came down because they believed in the conversation that I was having, and they
Hmm.
believed and saw and read into it themselves the level of changes that they can make by making this move down here. And one of the things that was behind the scenes between myself and our HR finance woman, we went out of our way to find schools, get new names for contacts down here, find realtors. Like we did everything we could to make it as easy as possible for the people
Hmm.
to make the transition. All you got to do is pack your house up. Right. But we
Wow.
covered moving costs. We provided some bonus money. We did all these things we could possibly do to help make the decision easy because we knew what it meant for the future, not just being in a better location countrywide or within the country from a cost perspective, but also Charlotte's a really great place. There's
Hmm.
300,000 people that have moved here in the last 6 years. That's an insane number. So we
Hmm.
want to grow our business and have future opportunities. New Jersey was the highest exodus state in the country at the time. We made decisions for the right thing, but we made it as a team together.
Yeah, moving a company potentially has it can go off the rails. It can really change a company in the wrong way, but you certainly had a much better experience. So that's good. You to summarize it from my point of view, you saw the value in involving the employees in this. The value of your culture really came
Mhm.
through, and also is coming through now as you bring on new people and they learn the culture right away from folks that have lived it. So, is that a
Yeah.
fair assessment of it?
Oh, absolutely. And there's a couple little things we did throughout the building, right? So you see this big, beautiful flag behind me. In our shop, we have one that's 10 times the size. It's
Mm-hmm.
15 feet tall by 25 feet wide. Now,
Mm-hmm.
physically, I could have bought a 20-foot tall flag, but I didn't specifically for a reason. And right next to where most of the guys are clocking in and out every day, there's a picture of our old shop jammed up with everything. Like there was no more room left. And
Mm-hmm.
above the top, it says, "Remember where we came from." And the reason I have that picture, when they turn around, they get to see the big flag, is that inside the old building, it was 15 feet tall. So when you see this big 15-foot tall flag in the shop, small inside this big new facility, it's a reminder every day of what we actually have here in front of us, what
Yeah.
opportunities and potential we have to do some new things, to bring new equipment to the market, to really grow together. So as these new guys come in, anybody on the team gets to say, "Hey, just so you know, that flag means something. It's not just the greatest flag on earth. There's a reason it's that specific size."
Yeah, it means something to us as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, and you've talked a lot about things it sounds like that you're proud of, the ability to pivot and others on the team. So as you look back on maybe the last couple years, which were transformational for you guys, is there anything in particular about what you've done as a company or we've done as a business that makes you incredibly proud?
Outside of the move, the fact that we had this many people move down with us, that's probably one of my proudest moments. I don't give myself enough time to think about it as often, and usually when I do, I get all choked up. But
Hmm.
that's a really cool thing. The other thing that we've done as soon as we landed down here and we brought in some of the local teammates that had connections to some of the local schools and universities, we've got actively involved with the school programs to help not just do like senior design projects. I've also gone and helped teach classes about processing metal parts and different versions of metal powder and different
Hmm.
ways to do that. So I'm pretty proud that we're expanding out into the community and helping the next generation learn a little bit. Like I said a little bit earlier, I'm extremely happy and proud to have been able to give people the opportunity to buy homes
Hmm.
in a
Hmm.
location which is really good and is good for their future. And that means they're also planting roots and really buying into what we're doing as a company.
Hmm.
Um, we're working on some stuff behind the scenes, but we've always struggled to bring a lot of new product to the market. We've always done R&D work, but a lot of new product to the market was tough because we never had the biggest engineering team. We finally really built our engineering team the way we want to, and it's got a
Hmm.
great leader above them who, sidebar, this kid's 29 years old and is one of the smartest, creative, people-driven humans I've ever met in my life. So he inspires me, actually.
Hmm.
We found him. He was part of the team, the North Carolina team down here. Having that team, seeing them really firing on all cylinders and working on some of these new projects that we're going to bring to market, which again was all part of what we wanted to move that we had the ability to do down here. Seeing that working and really flowing the way it's doing is incredibly honoring to me.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of really good things. Yeah, that's cool. You bring up another point that I wanted to touch on because finding top talent, retaining top people, that's a huge, I would say, probably one of the biggest issues I talk to people about every single day, right?
Hmm.
It sounds like your culture is one of those retention things for you, but maybe
Yeah.
talk about how you are finding top talent, right? And then maybe other ways that you're retaining them.
Yeah. That's it's a challenge for everybody, I think, across the entire world, even in a location that has this many people relocating. It's still hard. So
Hmm.
we have a few things that we do when it comes to talent acquisition and hiring. We've been probably for the last 10 years almost pretty exclusively working with recruiters and headhunters.
Hmm.
There's three teams we work with. What I've done is I've cultivated their knowledge and the relationships with them so they get an understanding of who we are. I bring them in-house. They get to spend time with us. They get to spend time with me so that when they're out talking about us to these potential candidates, they get the ability to feel that vibe and share that vibe, right? So
Hmm.
if you're doing all the recruiting yourself, you need to make sure that the person doing that recruiting knows how to share that information. Or if
Right.
you have an X-side person, now it certainly costs money to do that, but time is money too. If I'm sitting there looking through hundreds of resumes with our team, that takes a lot of time away from me. So that's step one. Step
Hmm.
two is when we do our interview process, we'll typically either do a quick 30-minute interview just to vet out whether this person actually makes sense. How do they show up? We'll do it like on a virtual call, or we'll bring them into the building if it's easy enough, we can find the right time. And for me, I think we talked about this last time, I don't remember, but we have one really simple interview question that we like to ask right away, and we'll know right there and then if that person's going to even continue in the interview. And that interview
Okay.
question, most interviews open up with, tell me about yourself, right?
Hmm.
Just to break the ice. What I really want to know is who is this person? How do they see themselves? Are they family oriented? Are they goal oriented? Are they adventure driven? Do they know what they're talking about? How do they speak? All these little things, depending on the role you're hiring for. We've taken that very simple question of tell me about yourself to tell me something amazing about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason is we want to let people tell them, I want to see how the person sees themselves. Right? If they're a
Hmm.
customer facing person that's got to be on the phone or in calls all day and they speak really soft and you can't hear them, that might not be a good fit.
Right.
So what I'm ultimately looking for is The skill set's on paper. We can talk through whether they have the foundational skill set, but I can't teach somebody how to be a human.
Hmm.
They either got it or they don't have it. So we go through the process. If they make it in there, we'll continue on the interview. And then depending on the role that we're hiring for, they're usually coming back in and sitting with a couple different levels of teams, whether it's within a team like the engineers, the whole engineering team will meet with them, or if it's a leadership role, we'll have every single level manager meet with that person too. And then as a team, collectively, we make the decision. It's not just a one person decision to move that forward. Um,
Okay. Are these
and they're all,
one-on-one interviews with each person, or is it more of a group interview?
usually it's two people in the first interview, and then we try not to overload because not only does it feel overwhelming for the candidate, but the people in the room might only get one question they can ask. So we try to
Mm,
do two. The maximum we will do is three.
okay. Okay. Yeah. I've at least probably the last 10 years I was working, I felt like group interviews with small groups was always very productive. You could be
Mhm.
thinking of a different question and observing while someone else is asking, as long as you had
Exactly.
enough time. And I always enjoy that. I think we got more out of it. So it sounds like you do some of that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
It's huge. Like we just hired a head of operations, a very important role. And when we were going through the finalized candidates, we brought it down from 8 candidates down to 3. Then we allowed everybody to interview this person too. And they did 2 people in the meeting with the person. And they had about 20 minutes each to ask some questions and go back and forth with them. So to your point, if you're sitting there always thinking about the next question to ask and listen, you might miss a cue that the other
Mhm.
person sees about
Yeah.
body behavior, language, something along those lines. So it's good to have a tandem group in that meeting when you get the chance to do it.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay. So that's your hiring process. You've done a lot of that lately. It sounds like it's been pretty successful for you, would you
Yeah.
say? Yeah. Okay.
We hire slow, fire fast, right? That's the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll let seats sit open for longer than normal because for me, what's most important is we're bringing somebody on the team that's the right fit culturally
Yep.
before the right skill set.
Yeah. That's
Right.
super
We see this
important.
on sports teams all the time long. You got the greatest athlete in the world, but he ruined the locker room.
Yeah.
Team doesn't win.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a huge part of the assessment as you're interviewing, and everybody's assessing that.
Yep. To your follow-up question point was, what do we do internally to keep the team here, right?
Mhm.
So we want to cultivate leaders within the company as much as we possibly can. And also the teammates that we have here, we always want to educate them about things in their work. And so a little bit is what we touched on earlier, culture driven, give people a purpose. But within our leadership team, my goal as the top leader in the company and anybody's executive role is to grow your team's not just knowledge of the product or the process, but them as humans,
Mm.
right? And the human side is the thing that I think is missed in a lot of companies. It's just, hey, you lead this team, go do that. There's more to it. The more we cultivate those teammates, one, they want to stay because they're growing as humans, but two, they're growing their teams too, because the information should pass itself down as those leaders have their own individual meetings. So we try to, on a monthly basis, we do a themed coaching session in our managers meetings. So like
Mm.
last month we did something called situational leadership, which talks about the phases of a new employee to a seasoned employee. And it comes down to the difference between commitment or excitement for the job versus competence and knowledge of the job, right? A new
Mhm.
person coming in, super excited, doesn't know what they're doing, and you move them across the way to super excited and knows what they're doing, and you got to coach them differently. One could be hand holding, one could be coaching, one could be supporting, and one's
Mhm.
delegating. So the more my team knows how to do that, now they're more empowered to look at their teams and not just coach them one way, coach them the way that the team needs to know or it needs to be taught so that they stay on board and continue with us.
Yeah, yeah,
This coming month,
yeah.
we're going to work on something called Six Human Needs. Tony Robbins started this some years ago. It's a really cool skill to know. It's actually a little bit of social warfare if you get really good at it because you can manipulate people. But if you use again, intentions are everything in life. If you come with the intention of trying to help somebody, it can be used in the right way. But it talks about how it's similar to disc profile a little bit, but you're working through how do people operate, function.
Mhm.
Right? There's some people that need checklists every day. They're a
Mhm.
certainty person. But if you take an uncertainty person and put them in a checklist routine, they're going to go stir crazy.
Yeah,
And
right.
then you have growth and significance. So a significance person, if you know that they're significance based, in order to motivate them to do something for what the team needs, you want to walk in and stroke their ego a little bit, make them feel like, hey, you did a really good job here last time. I'm going to need your help again on this project because you crushed it here. Can you help us again? Where if you just walk in and say, hey, I need your help on this project, can you do it? They might say, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a really cool tool. It takes a little while, a little bit of exercise to experience the knowledge around it, but Six Human Needs is a really cool tool. So I'm just finding more and more ways like that to help the managers and leaders here and let that dissipate down to the rest of the team because it's cool. And then there's one little final thing we do too,
Hmm.
internally for culture. And I'm
Okay.
this is actually something I'm really proud about. So I missed this on the earlier one. So we've got a 52,000 square foot facility here. Every Friday at 3 o'clock, we shut down and the whole building gets cleaned by the team. I'm
Oh.
talking bathrooms, floors, kitchens, walls, fans, carpets, everything. Garbage gets taken out. And the philosophy behind that, and this is one of the other little things I do every day, is I'm a big believer in discipline.
Mm.
And to me,
Hmm.
discipline means walking by on the floor and there's a piece of tape on the ground, you pick it up, you throw it out. It
Yep.
means leaving a conference room and every chair is perfectly placed around that table, right?
Hmm.
The same philosophy of, I'm sure you've heard the speech of make your bed in the morning.
Sure.
It's the same
Absolutely.
philosophy, right? So if I'm going to go run a marathon tomorrow and I've not trained for it, I'm screwed.
Hmm.
If I need to
Hmm.
actually use discipline to solve a big challenging problem without exercising that muscle every day, I'm not coming into it ready for what the challenge is that's coming my way.
Yeah, that's a good way to reinforce the culture and also quality. If you think about it, right? I mean, those little details matter in
Hmm.
everything, right? And if you as a company have every detail buttoned up after a meeting, after the
Hmm.
week, whatever it is, that same thing goes into the quality, I'm guessing.
Hands down. Funny
Yeah.
you mentioned like emails and follow up and information and so forth. There's a philosophy of writing emails the way the military writes emails, so like
Mm.
bottom line up front.
Yep.
But it's also in the subject line. What are you starting the subject line out with? So like we
Hmm.
came up with something, we stole some of the ideas and added to it from what I read online. But if I need somebody to do something, the word in the subject line starts with action. But if it's
Mm.
just I'm updating you on this information, it says update, or I need a
Okay.
decision, or just for review. Like you can build these things in. So when people are sitting there looking at their emails, they know whether they actually have to do something now on it, or I can put this to later when I do my follow-up time.
Boy, I think a lot of companies should adopt that. That sounds pretty cool.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
I bet. I bet. Now, you're not a big company, Stefan, right? What are you, 50 employees or something like that?
Actually, 42.
42. Okay, 42
Mhm.
employees. I assume you don't have someone that goes out and creates these training sessions that you were talking about, right? With the, what did you say? You said six human needs and
Mm.
situational leadership. Who does that? How do you do that?
Yeah. So since we started it, it's been myself. So I personally do a lot of personal development. I do a lot of coaching and business development on my own side.
Hmm.
I'm part of a group called the Arte Syndicate. It's
Hmm.
probably one of my favorite ones I've ever joined in my personal life. I've been in Vistage for a hot moment. They're pretty good too. I was in an executive forum group and just some other like EO and business group roundtables kinds of thing. The Arte Syndicate really focuses on coaching and providing tools, resources, and information. So a lot of what I'm teaching are the things that I've learned out of there that's helped to make me a better person and to make me a better leader. So why not transfer a lot of that information over to your team? Because if
Hmm.
it's gotten me to where I am, it's going to be able to get everybody else leveling up themselves too. So personal
Okay.
development, spending time, reading books, being attentive to the
Hmm.
things that are important to your specific industry or your specific skill set is really important, but it's being a lifelong student.
Hmm.
If you ever
Hmm.
stop that and don't be a student of life, no matter what level you've achieved professionally, you're hitting a threshold, you're hitting a ceiling, right? And the right leader is the one that's going to keep growing and then bring their team with them by sharing the information and knowledge that they have.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Hey, yeah, we could probably spend a lot of time on this topic, but I want to shift gears here a little bit, okay? And
Sure.
an important topic, I would say, in industry everywhere is AI, right? It's something that I dabble in a little bit, and I'm always interested in how people are using it. So, for you personally and for the business, how are you using it, and what kind of impact does it have on you or your business?
Huge question. This topic
Mm,
itself is probably about a couple of weeks worth of discussion, right?
I know.
So I, for a while, withheld, I don't want to do chat GPT. I don't need to talk to all this stuff and everything else out there. In the last year, I've applied a lot of that technical software and technical tools into my own business day-to-day operations. So for me, I've always been a pretty good writer. I can get my thoughts out pretty clear. I can spend time to review NDAs or legal documents or write up terms and contracts or whatever it is. But I personally use ChatGPT the most. I've used a little bit of Copilot just through some of the apps. I use ChatGPT a lot for my own like personal assistance to get things done
Okay.
in writing, in documentation, and I will just keep the most important thing is the way you prompt the question, right? So anybody who's used Google in the last year and a half, every time you write anything at the top, it kicks you out an AI response first, and then it goes into all the bullet points. So the whole model of search windows and search engines and so forth are switching to prompt question-based style input with the feedback. So the more you think about how you ask a general question, that's how you want to do it within an AI software to get the right information back. But just be willing to have a bit of a communication, right? Just push back and have them adjust and have them think about things maybe differently to then give you out a better output. I've used it for marketing paperwork and tools, flyers to build up and so forth. It gets me about 90% of the way, and then I only have to spend 10% of the time polishing it. So
Yeah.
for me, it's been an assistant. It's been a great tool, man. There's things that I didn't even know how long it was going to take me. It took me about 25 minutes through ChatGPT and I got it done. And I'm like, whoa, great tool. Glad I have it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No doubt.
internally, we've been doing some talking and some teaching a little bit about that with the team so managers can use the same kind of process. Obviously, you can go and ask it any kind of technical question that you want to. Be mindful of where is it sourcing information and is it accurate? From a business perspective, we are in the process of looking at it for like an add-on to our service department so that not only do we have a educated chat bot type of system where I have troubleshooting scenarios for a certain type of topic. So we're trying to build up a model within our service department to allow users to get problems solved a little faster versus just waiting for us to be able to get on the call with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Right. So a
Okay.
lot of
That
the
makes
ways
sense.
the world has been using it, we're bringing a little bit of that into it. Going forward, we're very much hand-built equipment, handcrafted. It's a little bit of who we are. It's our pride in what we do. Uh, we're looking at all the different operations within the business right now to say, hey, how can we deploy information analytics to what we're doing in that area to help make sure we predict problems going forward. So we're actually starting with a little bit of our own personal equipment maintenance and trying to track some data and information there and see what kind of feedback we get so that we can then deploy it to our own furnaces we build so that end users have the ability to actually gain from system knowledge and how the systems are working. So we're early phase on the business side, but personal side, I've been involved for quite some time.
Yeah, someone put it to me this way, and this makes the most sense. They said, think of them almost like your analogy with situational leadership. Think of them like a new employee that's very capable but doesn't know a lot. So, your
Right.
point about asking the right questions, telling them where to go get information so they can learn along the way, and treat them a little bit like that employee that is capable, but doesn't know much until you tell them where to go and how to
That's
do it. And
perfect.
that's amazingly capable once you do that, because I think the direction you're going makes perfect sense. I can see so many different uses for it. I have a lot of thoughts about AI, and like you said, we could probably spend 2 hours on this alone. But for now, I appreciate your feedback and where you're going with it. So let's.
I'll give you a
I'm
little
sorry. Do you have
rabbit hole
anything to add?
button if you want to go down the AI world. This is an interesting question. A good executive leadership coach friend of mine posted this out to the world a while ago. He prompted into it. It says, what is my curse? Put that into a chat GPT. So long as you've had some experience with it and it's understood you, put that in there and start going down that path. Man, the things I learned that are accurate about myself, but also ways to find ways to improve some of the things that are challenges within me as a human. It's a deep rabbit hole. I still go back to the question every so often and keep having that conversation and learning more about myself, just through
Yeah,
it, which is a cool tool.
that is cool. My son has taken it to another level. He does think of it as it's his employee. He basically has named his chat person, and they go back and forth in conversations all the time.
Oh
My
yeah.
daughter-in-law kind of laughs about it because that's his new best friend, but he's using it well, and I applaud him for that.
Mine is named Atlas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Atlas is, think about Atlas, what it is, what it does. It's a guider, it's a visionary, it's a helper to help bring things together. So I actually
You know,
asked him, what do you want to be called? And he said, I
well,
like this name or this name.
believe it or not, that's the name of my son has named his. Atlas.
Atlas?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes. Ironic. Interesting.
Incredible.
You guys must think alike. Let's shift gears here a little bit, Stefan. I want to talk a
Sure.
little bit more about you. I can feel your excitement about things you like about the job, but maybe summarize it for us. What do you enjoy most about your role?
Oh, that's a great question. I tie it a little bit back to my spirit animal. I think my spirit animal is a lion. And some of the skills and qualities and traits of a lion is they're okay to go at it alone, but they take care of their pride,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some of the hardest times as a leader is when you actually feel like you're alone
Mm.
and you feel like you're not doing enough. You feel like you need to do more. And a real good leader or entrepreneur or executive in a truth that is believing and growing, it's never enough. You want to keep succeeding. You want to keep doing more. You feel like you're never really hitting that line.
Mm-hmm.
But what drives me every day is I've really learned how to excel myself through personal development. But nowadays, like now that I've gotten the team back to where it needs to be through the move and we have everybody where they are, there's two things I love to do is have customers request specific levels of support and help, and we dig in to try to solve the problems. And
Mm-hmm.
like looking back on relationships I've had my own self with customers that maybe I've picked up from my dad or I started on my own to see these companies make these transitional plans where they're on furnace 4, 5, 6. My dad always said he had a famous line, he's only happy when he sells the fifth furnace because he knows
Mm.
he's done something to help you. So I
Yeah.
get a lot of passion in driving customer success by over delivering technical awareness and knowledge and educating only. But then the other thing that gets me going probably the most is with this move, like I said, we had 6 people buy homes. The
Yeah.
fact that's truly happened, I get up every single day and be like, I need to do more. Where can I help? Who needs help? Who needs a little bit of help today? What do they need? I've even done research for one of our teammates that's in the process of closing on a home, 4 homes for her,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
just really want to see or feel that joy and that passion. I love seeing somebody feel happiness and feel joy because of the contribution level that I've offered.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like we touched this once before, but one of my biggest skills is helping people, but it's also my biggest weakness because sometimes I will overdo it
Mm-hmm.
to my own detriment, meaning I won't pay attention to my own person that needs help.
Yeah.
So what I've learned is there's something called selfishly selfless.
Mm.
And to
Okay.
be truly selfless, you need to be in the best possible version of yourself, which means you have to be selfish first. So,
Interesting.
what are you doing for your own health? What are you doing for your own personal development? What are you doing for the things that are important to you so that when you're selfless with someone or something, you are 100% there, not worrying about other things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be a little selfish, to be completely selfless.
Yeah, I guess you could be taken advantage of, and people could have different motives for somebody that wants to help all the time. So for you, you have to recognize that first for how it may be what you need before
Yeah.
you put too much out there for someone else. Is that kind of where you're going?
Yeah, absolutely. And we opened the whole thing up with I run 4 different businesses. My time is very limited in terms of what I can offer out. I've done a lot of things to learn how to manage time. One of
Mm-hmm.
the programs I did a while ago, started I think in 2018 or 19, was called 75 Hard. It's an incredible mental toughness program that's out there. If anybody's never done it or is interested in really figuring out who they are upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
this is an incredible program to do. I'd highly encourage it. You learn a lot about how much you're wasting time.
Yeah,
It's, it's impressive, but I
that regime
really,
is
really,
impressive. So I would agree. Sorry to interrupt, but you went through that last time, and
Mhm.
what someone has to pack into a day to do that is hard, right? There's a lot there.
Oh yeah. And just because I've gone through it a few times, I've shared the word with people. And since that, I know people that are married with 4 kids and 2 dogs and 3 horses. They've gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
When I've seen people that are in all these different walks of life, there's a way to always make sure you're giving back to the person you are so you can give back to everybody else the way you want to. But giving to the team and helping the team get better every day and finding new resources is the other thing that really gets me up every day and keeps me going. That's my real true passion.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and you shared. One of my questions was going to be, what have you learned about yourself? I think you've learned a lot there that you shared right there. But a couple more questions because we're getting
Yeah.
close on time. So this is a little bit off the wall, but you had mentioned you read a lot. What books have you read lately that were impactful to you?
The last book I just finished, it took me a little longer to finish than I wanted just because there was a lot going on in the last year, was Unreasonable Hospitality.
Hmm, okay.
That book it's written by a gentleman who was in the restaurant industry and moved himself through a lot of different types of restaurants, but he wanted to eventually get to a specific restaurant in New York City is the one he wanted to always run. And the philosophy of what he did was when you're in a business, every business has some form of hospitality you have to perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those that are the ones that are remembered and the people that keep coming back to you are the ones where you go in and you get a level of service, help, and knowledge that is over and above what anybody could expect. So like
Mm-hmm.
one example would be like he taught his waiters to pay attention to what the tables were saying as he was walking around. And if he overheard one of the people sitting at the table being like, man, I think we might have to pay the meter. Is it going to run out or something like that? Like the waiter would run outside real quick and pay the meter for their car and come back in
Wow.
and be like, hey,
Okay.
just so you know, you don't have to worry about that anymore. It's 50 cents or a dollar.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter. And in today's
Mm-hmm.
world, you get to just do it on your phone nowadays. But little things that go so far, right? If somebody's
Mm-hmm.
talking about, hey, we get to celebrate something this weekend, maybe you do an early celebration, you bring out some champagne glasses. Little things. It's a great book. There's a lot of little skills and traits in there. And then another book I'm rereading right now actually is a book called Relationships First. I was written by Emily Frisella, who's she's got an incredible story herself, working through what she's worked through and the businesses that she's personally started. But it's all about relationships and it's all about the power of cultivating a relationship, not
Mm-hmm.
just for what it is in the interaction or the transaction, but continuing that thing going forward with a customer and then also with your community and with your team. It's a great book. It's an awesome
Yeah.
book.
Okay.
It's actually one of
Yeah.
the
The
only books I've read
unreasonable.
where you can hear the person actually talking to you. That's what it sounds like.
Okay. Okay. That book on reasonable hospitality sounds a little bit like another book that I read a long time ago. Really short book, but impactful, called Raving Fans. And
Heard about that book.
yeah, it's a pretty good book. It's very simple read, but it really strikes you at how do you help your customers become raving fans of you, or your employees become raving fans of the business you're in. You're
Yeah.
doing that in the business you're in today. That kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I can see
Yeah.
why this book would have been impactful for you.
If you want another AI tool, ChatGPT can do it, but there's another, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but you can actually write a prompt asking for chat to summarize a book and give you all the major takeaways from what the book has in it. And that could be
Uh,
done. You can read 10 books in an hour.
Cliff Notes, but probably
Even
better
better
than
than
that.
Cliff Notes. It's really incredible, actually. I did it for a couple of books that I read before to see
Hmm.
that it actually would give you the same kind of takeaway for
Hmm.
myself. But this goes back to the coaching of the AI chatbot, right? So does
Hmm.
the AI know you? And if you
Yeah.
tell it to teach you and learn you, like what I did is I put all my old podcasts that I sat in on there. I gave it
Hmm.
some of the speeches I wrote for the company here. I was like,
Hmm.
learn me. So when I'm asking for help, you teach me the way I need to be taught.
Yeah, that's
So
perfect. Yeah, that's
it gives
good.
me that kickback to it. It's pretty cool. I still like reading books because it's quiet time, but if there's a good book somebody talks about, and my list is too long, I'll just throw it in there real quick to get the gist of it and then add it to the read list later.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, so I always end our podcast this way, with one question, and you and I have talked about this before, but maybe this has changed for you over time. But if you had to give some advice to a new executive or a new CEO or new owner of a business, what would you say to him, Stefan?
Hmm. It's a great question. Could be taken probably many different ways. Outside of knowing your business by doing everything in the business, take the time to actually work with everybody so that
Hmm.
you can talk their language. That's a great skill for any executive to have in a company. I would say, and this goes back to my own personal mantra and ethos I said before, is those who care more win more. And what
Mm,
I mean by that is if you're going to be involved in something, actually care about it. Care
yeah.
about it if it's you and an employee, care about it for their benefit, not yours. Care
Mm,
about it for what the outcome possibly could be, not your personal outcome. If your care and intention is for the other side, obviously you have a desire to hit some kind of future goal for yourself too. But if you put your care and presence and intention into the thing that you're working on and with and for, your level of winning will succeed so much more than if you don't do that.
yeah. Yeah. It's sincerity in a lot of ways, right? You're
Mhm.
sincerely interested in them and caring about what they want to get done too.
Yeah. And then by the way, you end it with they actually know that you're on their team. You're
Yeah.
with them. You're helping them. Same thing for a customer. It's not like a transaction with a customer, it's a partnership with a customer.
Yeah. No doubt.
Those who care
Well,
more win more.
yeah. Great advice. And Stefan, look, thanks again. It goes by so fast when we get together, but I would like to have coffee with you, talk a little bit more, but I appreciate you being on the show today.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you again. I wish you nothing but the most success with this podcast, just like you did last time, and keep changing the minds and the worlds of the people that you're interacting with, man. I'm proud of you.
Amen. Thanks, partner.